CEASEFIRE Monitoring Group or CEASEFIRE Supervisory Board laga Chairman Lieutenant General retired Amarjit Singh Bedibra Jaitaga NSCN KHANGO aro KKP proprietor laga mamla par jankari dishe. Amarjit par janaishe ki mamla par itya tak eko complaint na panai holebi media laga reports hisab so moto cognizance loigina ase. Amarjit pra kushi ki NSCN KHANGO group ke CEASEFIRE ground rules upper accountable health kurigina se kude group pra rule manibole commitment dikhaishe. NSCN KHANGO group pra CFSB laga office ke convene kurishi ki group to voluntarily contribution hisab te run kuriero statement olaigina conflicts laga affected parties ke yezabo constitution laga certain provision apprise kurado misconstitute kurishe. CEASEFIRE Supervisory Board laga meeting jintu aji August 3 de luishe tade group ra CEASEFIRE ground rules atir kurubole wada dishe aro mamlador early time frame de suljaf kurubo koigina janaishe. Nagaland laga bishi civil society organizations aro chandabra CFMG or CFSB laga role upor sawal kurigina ahitaga homoy Amarjit pa CEASEFIRE monitoring group laga working mechanism upor jankari dishe. Amarjit pra jankari dishe ki government of India bra panchta naga political groups lagot CEASEFIRE sign kurigina se kote NSCN IM, NSCN U, NSCN R, NSCN KHANGO aro NSCN Niki Khan shamil kure. Sub naga groups jun khan CEASEFIRE agreement sign kurigina se tai khan CEASEFIRE ground rules atir kurubole commitment dikhaishe kuishe. Amarjit pa mentioned kurishi ki CEASEFIRE implementation facilitate kurubole karne groups ke designated camps CEASEFIRE officers aro identity card khan bhi provide kurishe. Amarjit pa assert kurishi ki CEASEFIRE agreement de thaga groups khan ground rules violate kurishe nohile unlawful kadam uthaishe kuledo ki hole bi immunity grant nokurubo. CEASEFIRE mechanism the state government laga representatives Nagaland police security agencies Ministry of Home Affairs aro sub groups laga CEASEFIRE supervisory board khan shamil kure koigina janaishe.
At the outset, let me extend a warm welcome to you all for this interaction. This is my first interaction with you all, though I have been in this appointment for some time. But I thought it appropriate at this time that let's clarify some of the issues related to the CEASEFIRE mechanism here in Nagaland. Lots of, I would say, misinformed comments, views, and opinions have been published going around about the CEASEFIRE mechanism, even at times by very higher ups. So I thought it would be appropriate to clarify some of the issues related to the CEASEFIRE mechanism. I will start by a little bit of a self-introduction of myself, since this is my first interaction with you all. I am Lieutenant General Amarjit Singh Bedibra. I have been associated with Nagaland in some capacity or the other since 1981, and more intimately or very closely for the last 4 years almost, when I have taken over this appointment in September 2000. I will start by making an opening statement about this the CEASEFIRE mechanism, and thereafter, if there are any questions or any clarification that you want to seek, you are all welcome to do that. Okay, just for the information of everybody, the Government of India has signed the CEASEFIRE agreement with 5 Naga groups over a period of time, and these groups are NSCN IM in 1997, NSCN Unification in 2012, NSCN R in 2015, NSCN KHANGO in 2019, and the last one, which was NSCN Niki in 2021. The CEASEFIRE has been signed basically with the aim to usher in peace on the ground, so that the political discussions to resolve the Naga issue can move ahead in an atmosphere of trust, respect, and peaceful conditions which are prevalent on the ground. The ceasefire, for the information of everybody, has been signed incorporating elaborate ceasefire ground rules. All the Naga groups who have signed the ceasefire agreement with the government of India have committed to adhere to those ceasefire ground rules. Also, side by side, as the ceasefire mechanism goes on, to facilitate the implementation of the ceasefire, certain instruments in the form of designated camps, some of the ceasefire offices, and even ceasefire identity cards have been provided to these groups purely from the administrative convenience and administrative point of view, so that tasks related to the ceasefire mechanism and smooth follow-up of the ceasefire can go on. Instruments and all these facilities which have been provided in no way, I repeat, in no way grant immunity to any of the groups to undertake violation of the ceasefire ground rules or carry out any unlawful activities. Ceasefire mechanism for Nagaland has been established by the Government of India, basically to monitor and supervise adherence to the ceasefire ground rules. The ceasefire mechanism consists of representatives of the state government, Nagaland police, all the security agencies, the Ministry of Home Affairs, and also the ceasefire supervisory boards from all the groups which are in ceasefire with the Government of India. I am the chairman of the ceasefire monitoring group and ceasefire supervisory board, as I said, since almost September 2000 for the last 4 years, and we see that the ceasefire ground rules are followed in letter and spirit by all the groups who have committed to the ceasefire agreement with the Government of India. Regular meetings of the ceasefire monitoring group and ceasefire supervisory board are held to resolve any differing perceptions or points of confrontation on the ceasefire ground rules between the two sides which are there. And also, in addition, our office, that is the ceasefire monitoring office, continuously monitors the adherence to the ceasefire ground rules on day-to-day basis by both the sides, and we endeavor to resolve any conflicting situations as well as any differing perceptions between any of these parties, also on a day-to-day basis. The efficacy of this mechanism can be judged by you all in terms of the peace which has prevailed in Nagaland, and for the last couple of years, in terms of the resolution of any of the conflicting situation, so that they don't result into any violence and disturbance of the peaceful environment, which is essential for carrying out the political negotiations to resolve the Naga issue. Also, I will now come down to the present imbroglio, which is there with between NSCN, KHANGO, and some of the agencies or civil society organizations which has been on for the last couple of days. Though, of course, our office has not received any complaint from any of the parties, but we have definitely suo moto taken cognizance of all these media reports which have been going, and also some of the comments or issues which have been conveyed to us verbally by some of the parties. The issue has been continuously monitored since it came out in the open media from the outset itself. The group, that is NSCN KHANGO, which is in ceasefire with the government of India, has been held accountable to all the ceasefire ground rules which they have committed to follow. And in writing, they have conveyed to our office. I have the written submission to all the queries raised by us, that their group runs on purely voluntary contribution, and their statement to apprise one of the affected parties of this complete conflict of the certain provisions of the CEASEFIRE or the constitution which they follow may have been misconstrued as a life threat or a capital punishment. It is not their intention in any way to violate any of the ceasefire provisions, and in a written submission to our office, they have committed themselves once again to adherence to all the ceasefire ground rules. Meeting of the larger ceasefire supervisory board, consisting of representatives of all the agencies, that is the state government, the security agencies, the NSCN KHANGO group which was there, was also held today morning here at 11 o'clock, and the group in front of the larger forum also has once again committed themselves to adherence to the ceasefire ground rules, and have also assured the larger forum that this issue will be resolved by them in very early time frame. We have urged from our side and that this issue must not linger on, because it is in no way helpful to any of the parties, and they have committed to resolve this issue at the earliest. The issue will be regularly monitored, and we will see that the group continues to adhere to their commitment in the form of all the points of the ceasefire ground rules which they have agreed to. The ceasefire mechanism functions as a collective forum. While I may be the chairman of the ceasefire mechanism, I work as a chairman of a body which consists of members of various agencies out here, and it is a collective forum which strives to see that all contentious or conflicting issues relating to the ceasefire mechanism are resolved in an amicable manner, and the underlying principle always remains with us in this larger forum to also see that peaceful conditions continue to prevail in Nagaland, so that the political negotiations do not get disturbed, and they can at least go on in an environment of mutual trust and peaceful environment, so that solution to the whole problem can be found. What I had to say, just to clarify some of the issues which were there, the house is open for you all to ask any questions if you all desire, but I will request you all to restrict yourself to questions relating to the ceasefire mechanism, because there are other larger questions which I may not be mandated to speak on. So I will request you all to restrict yourself to speak on issues related to this particular ceasefire mechanism and the ceasefire ground.
Yeah. You are saying this one, you said that there is no complaint so far you have received. But you will not receive the complaint because this is not a clash between the security forces in the group. Because this is confronting with the civilians. So far you will not receive. Ceasefire is basically, it is to monitor between the security forces with the groups. While the groups who are in the ceasefire is having conflict or some other reason with the civil people, I mean the civilians, how we are going to deal? So when you say that you don't have received any complaint.
Okay, Let me clarify, because that is the misperception which prevails, that ceasefire is only purely meant for the government agencies or other agencies. I will just read out some of the provisions of the ceasefire ground rules which have been signed by or between the Government of India and can I just have a glass of water? Government of India and the respective groups, and also it affects the larger aspect of the Naga society also, and that's why it needs to be. One of the clauses of the ceasefire agreement says the NSCN KHANGO would refrain from blockade of roads and communications and from any activity which would disturb the functioning of local and state governments and of economic or development activities as well as essential services. Another clause also says the NSCN KHANGO will refrain from extortions, forcible collections of money and supplies, and intimidation of individuals, including government officials. So these are the provisions of the ceasefire ground rules which are there. And let me assure you, we hold all these groups accountable to their commitment in all these provisions which are contained in the ceasefire ground rules. And in this particular incident also, NSCN KHANGO has been held accountable to violation of some of the ceasefire ground rules, and that is why they have in writing committed to us and also committed to us that it is not their intention to issue out any threats or anything to anybody which is there. It may have been misconstrued, and they will endeavor to resolve the issue at the earliest in conjunction. Ultimately, I do agree it's a problem which has to be resolved by the people amongst themselves. But since the groups are accountable to the ceasefire mechanism for the ceasefire ground rules which they are committed to follow, they have been held responsible for those, and due to the efforts, I'm sure they will get in touch with the responsible people and resolve the issue at the earliest as per the satisfaction of all the sides.
So you mentioned it is already there in the ceasefire ground rules about the forceful collection. So what about those who are not forceful collection?
See, when the ceasefire agreement has been signed, all these groups have said that there is a people's organization. They represent the people here in discussions with the Government of India. And like any government which is there, to sustain themselves, they will only take voluntary contributions. And that is like any other political party, like any other civil society organization, so many other things. So they have committed that since there is a people organization, they are the concerns of the agencies have been alleged that they do not force people and they do collect money, but that is a voluntary contribution to take further the cause of negotiations which are going on with the Government of India.
There is no violation of that.
So as far as the ceasefire ground rules are concerned, I have read out what is the ceasefire ground rules which say and what restrictions are imposed upon them. Over and above these, there are no ceasefire violations.
So the KHANGO, you said you have already met representatives of the KHANGO group. They have mentioned to you that they have committed violation of ceasefire ground rules?
See, they have told us that inadvertently there is no intention of theirs to violate the ceasefire ground rules, because they are wanting to stay win ceasefire with the Government of India, and their complete intention is to adhere to the ceasefire ground rules. But however, if there has been inadvertently or by misperception, misunderstanding, if there has been a perception that they have violated the ceasefire ground rules, then they will take corrective measures to see that this misperception is cleared and they will meet the parties concerned and resolve the issue.
So you have seen in the newspapers also that they have, what kind of statement they have made. The language they have used is completely threatening only. They have used the language is completely threatening, and now they are saying that they are not going against the ceasefire grounds rule, or they are upholding the ceasefire ground rules. That is one thing, and another thing is you are saying that they have said they are doing as per their CEASEFIRE or the constitution. Does it mean that their CEASEFIRE is accepted by the government of India, or is it acceptable under the ceasefire ground rules?
The government of India accepts the ceasefire ground rules which has been signed. It is very clear that what government of India has committed to in the ceasefire ground rules and the ceasefire agreement between both sides. So let's restrict ourselves to these ceasefire ground rules to which both the parties have committed. While they may be following their own CEASEFIRE or anything, but if there is a violation of the ceasefire ground rules which they are committed to following, then that we consider it as a violation of the ceasefire ground rules, and the group will be held accountable.
Sir, my specific question is whether the CEASEFIRE is acceptable under the ceasefire ground rules or not.
I am not aware of the CEASEFIRE, what does their CEASEFIRE say or anything, because I am only mandated in terms of these are the guidelines between the government of India and the group. How does the group function internally? That is the business of the group. I have nothing to say or comment upon that. What we are concerned about is the commitment in terms of the ceasefire agreement which has been signed by the two parties to take forward the political negotiations, and we will adhere to the provisions of the ceasefire ground rule, and so does the other group. Their internal mechanism, I am not competent to comment upon them. That is their business, how they run their organization.
Actually, this is a specific to the KHANGO's. This group has issued a trade to a particular KKP or something like that, the contractor, I think their group. This is a specific to their point. How far they have explained to you that they have committed a blunder, or they still mention that we are just doing according to the CEASEFIRE?
No, they have definitely committed to us, and even in the larger forum of CFSB meet today morning itself, that it is not, I have read out the provisions of the ceasefire ground rules. It is not their intention to violate any of these ceasefire ground rules. I will repeat myself again that it is not their intention to violate any of the ceasefire ground rules. Mistakenly, if it has been misinterpreted or some statement of theirs has been misinterpreted in any manner to see that there has been a violation of the ceasefire ground rules, then they would take measures to see that this issue is resolved. And we are hopeful that the concerned parties which are there will meet and clear this misperception which has been created, because the understanding of one party is different, the understanding of other party is different. So we are hopeful and that in very near future these both parties will meet. After all, it is a issue which they have to resolve. Both parties will meet and resolve. Our concern remains violation of the ceasefire ground rule, which we will not accept, and we will definitely make the group accountable to that violations if there are any.
Sir, what are you saying? You're saying that the ceasefire ground rules are effectively and practically enforced, and what actions are initiated against the groups or their cadres violating the ceasefire ground rules?
See, as far as the ceasefire ground rules are concerned, they are definitely commitment from the groups. Like I said, any of the facilities or any of the things which are provided to them does not provide any immunity for to any of the groups. There are a number of instances where groups who have violated provisions of the ceasefire ground rules have been taken to account in terms of the lawful action which is required. Like I said, the ceasefire mechanism does not function as me alone. there is a state police which is there. There is a state administration, state government which is there as part of the mechanism. There are security forces which are there as part of the mechanism. And at times, whenever there have been violations of the ceasefire ground rules by any individuals from the groups, suitable action as required by the law have been taken by the law enforcing agencies or the security agencies.
So during the larger group meeting, ceasefire group meeting that you mentioned, did the police give any update on if there's been any arrest or any progress with the investigations?
Yeah, the police has definitely, the DGP was also there in the meeting today morning. The police have lodged a suo motu FIR because there also there has been no formal complaint, but all the same, since it is there, the police have lodged a suo motu FIR, and the police has also been requested to undertake investigation on the subject, and if there are people found guilty or violation of the ceasefire ground rules from after the police investigation, I'm sure the police will take action as per the provisions of the law against these people.
Even yesterday in Joliboto, there's reformation, reformation. This issue is there. One boy was beaten up, and then again the Dimapur, we have seen that one GP was gunned down. Have you received any notice about this?
No, there has been no formal complaint. We do take that is one of the I would say larger questions, because we do take at times we do receive complaints, but I would like to assure you, the moment any complaint we have received from anybody, due cognizance of that complaint has been taken, and we have taken measures in conjunction with all the parties to resolve the issue. But some of the issues, something like what you are bringing to our notice of Joliboto, we have also learned, and I am not as yet aware of the details of the incident, because this incident has happened yesterday. I will definitely inquire about the details and response from the group, that is NSCN R, which is involved in that. You also must understand that there is a well laid down standard operating procedures for functioning of the ceasefire mechanism by the government of India, and we all function as per rules, regulation and investigation. That's why there are so many members in the ceasefire mechanism, and we will definitely for this incident also seek the details from the group, and if the group is found violative of any of those things, we will hold them accountable, and responsible people, if they are there, and if there is a requirement of even taking out police investigation, I am sure the police will take lawful action of the subject.
Does the CFMG only take verbal and written assurance, or any action beyond that also? And also you are mentioning that the groups are saying that they take voluntary contribution, free will contribution, but there's so many cases of workers being kidnapped from the...
Like I said, any of the unlawful activity or anything what has been given to any of the groups does not in any way provide immunity to indulge in unlawful activity. Even the ceasefire ground rules are very specific and do not provide any immunity to anybody. If anybody does indulge in unlawful activities, there are participants in the ceasefire mechanism. The DGP is a part of the mechanism, the state police is a part of the mechanism, the state administration is a part of the mechanism, the security forces are part of the mechanism, and while some of the cases may have gone unactioned up till now because the investigations are on, but majority of these instances, I am sure the police is carrying out the investigation wherever things have been brought or FIRs have been lodged, and in due course of time the lawful action will be taken. There are a number of cases when you would say the police every day gives out the details of people arrested you also can see the data of the police records, how many people with all the weapons indulging in all the activities who have been arrested, violating all these provisions. But every complaint, every issue requires thorough investigation. There are issues because after all, the force of the law also can be brought about only after thorough investigation of an incident has been done. And since the administration, the police is part of the mechanism, they are undertaking actions on the whole issue.
Do you think that you have delayed calling this kind of ceasefire meeting, ground rules, under your chairmanship? Because these incidents of now KHANGO has issued threat, and Angami Students Union calling a press conference, narrating the whole story about it. And now today only you have called a press conference. We came to know from you only that you had a meeting this morning. You have delayed more than a week. So it's not it that because of your negligence or you're not taking seriousness on this issue, the issue is just likely to go out of proportion now.
Let me assure you that this issue was in our knowledge right from the beginning when it came out in the newspapers. Every procedure takes time. You must understand, from the time this issue has been brought to our notice through the media, the group has been in writing question immediately on that day itself, question about their response to the whole issue. The group has written submission to us on 31st of this month, which is there. And during that response, I have had a meeting with the group and also held them accountable and also told them to resolve the issue at the earliest, which they promised that they will resolve the issue. After that, only once I got their response on 31st of last month, today we have held the meeting of the larger forum for resolving this issue. Meantime, we've also, in terms of been in touch with some of the parties involved in the incident to get their pulse as to what is the kind of interaction, because everything to our knowledge is only through the media and only through the written reports what is being floating around in the media. The procedures required we ascertain the veracity of those reports also, and that is why the procedure we have to get the response from the group also, and only once the group conveys to us their written response, what is the details of the incident, that further action can be taken.
Sabha MP have alleged that the CFMG group and the government agencies are not active, particularly the CFMG office, mainly with regard to taxation. So he have alleged that if the CFMG office and the government agencies would have been more active, then the issue of taxation could have been controlled to a certain extent. What is your comment on that?
I would not like to comment on somebody who's made a statement on anything. That is not my position to say anything on that. But I would only like to assure you that this office is proactive in terms of any information or any issues which are brought to its notice. I've already enumerated the larger forum which is there, and so is all the other agencies which are part of this forum. Anytime any issue which has come to our notice or the complaint has come in, due cognizance of that has been taken. The groups have also been held accountable. There is a regular meetings of the larger forum which takes place, and we do make efforts to see that any conflicting perceptions of nature, wherein some of what you all brought out, wherein some of the actions of the group are termed as voluntary, and but ultimately it comes out in a different form to us. We do hold the groups accountable, and there have been innumerous incidents. I've been involved in this process for some time now, and we are there, and we have been able to resolve the conflicting perceptions and resolve the issue to the satisfaction of large number of parties. Yes, there may be incidents which may not have come to our notice because one of the challenges which I've been enumerating and telling is what we face is the lack of people. I would also through this medium request everybody that if there is any ceasefire ground rules violation in their perception on all these issues, to bring the issue to our notice so that proper action can be taken on the subject. But whatever has been brought to our notice, whatever we have taken suo motu cognizance of, none of the issues have been left. We have been able to take action and take the procedures forward, either in terms of action by the police on that subject or by holding the group accountable in terms of that action.
Is there any provision in the ceasefire ground rules that allows a collection of tax by the various groups?
I have already read out the relevant paras from there. There is no provision of tax. The groups are only taking voluntary contributions that since they represent the people, they say they represent the people and they are in discussions on the Naga political issues. They only take political, I would say voluntary contributions. Anything forcible which is there, which they do or anything is against the ceasefire ground rules, and we will definitely, like I said, hold them accountable to it whenever the issue is brought to our notice or we take cognizance of the whole thing from any of the reports.
Chairman sir, you're saying that people should inform the office if they feel that there is a violation of the ceasefire ground rules. But many, let me just point out, like more than 80% of the Naga people are not aware of the contents of the ceasefire ground rules. So don't you think that your office or any of the agencies should take the initiative of creating more awareness about, the provisions or the contents of the CF ground rules to the general public?
Yeah, I fully understand. These are the ceasefire ground rules which are there in the open domain. They are not a secret document between the two parties. These are very much in the open domain and known. I would only urge the people to, while we do make effort, whenever we come across any of the organizations or agencies about the ceasefire ground rules, but these ground rules are available in the open domain, and if people want to see, unfortunately, it is only because of lack of awareness, lack of knowledge about these ceasefire ground rules and the mechanism that number of times all these irresponsible comments or misinformed views have been propagated about the complete ceasefire mechanism. But I do take your point, and we will definitely endeavor to see that whenever we meet any of the organizations and other agencies, we do educate them on the complete subject of the ceasefire ground rules.
Sir, in regard to this question brought here, the KHANGO, you have mentioned that KHANGO has claimed responsibility and that their statement has been misconstrued. Have they given any written assurances that they will withdraw their statement?
See, it's an issue between two parties, between the Angami Youth Organization, which has happened also between these two parties. Our mechanism is concerned about the ceasefire violation, which is, I will restrict myself to if any of the groups carries out the ceasefire violation. And any of the acts as per these provisions, what I have read out, if they are undertaken by any of the group, they are ceasefire violations, and we will hold the group accountable for that. It is up to the two parties to meet and see that the issue is resolved amicably amongst themselves. And today also, like I said in the morning in the meeting, KHANGO group have assured us that they will take the initiative towards resolving the issue with all the other parties who are having a misunderstanding on the whole thing with them. So we do hope that NSCN KHANGO will in a couple of days take out mayors to see that they meet each other and resolve the issue.
That is nice, but how do you expect that this KHANGO and the civil society, a group, that they will just meet up and resolve the issue without you are sitting as the chairman of CEASEFIRE monitoring board?
After all, these people are representatives of the Naga people. If they don't meet the Naga people, how are they calling themselves the representatives of the Naga people? So you must, that is the other question. If they are representative and they are carrying out political activities in terms of negotiations with the government of India, I am sure they are meeting all the civil society organizations, all the other agencies which are there. And definitely, if there are two agencies which are having a little bit of misunderstanding or misperception, we will definitely hope that these two parties meet and resolve the issue. After all, they are representatives of, like all you said, the Naga community which is there. They are not representatives of the government of India. They are representatives of you all people who are there, and I am sure they will resolve the issue by interacting with each other.
So does that mean that the role of the CFMG, particularly in this case, ends here, or because you are...
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
So does that mean that the role of the CFMG, your office ends here? The role of your office ends here in this issue because you will not be facilitating any meet between the group and between the two parties?
No, we will. Our role doesn't end because this is perceived as a violation of the ceasefire ground rules. That is there. We are definitely concerned with the violation of the ceasefire ground rules, and we have also given out an option if our good offices are required to resolve this issue between the two parties. We are always there to offer our services to have or facilitate interaction so that the issue is resolved amicably by them.
What group does not take proper measures to resolve this issue?
Are there any punitive measures
or any deadlines? Also?
Let's not jump the gun. Let's wait for the outcome. The group has assured us and also assured everybody that they will take measures to resolve the issue. So let's not keep jumping the gun, and we hope and we are very, I would say,
very
positive.
It's a very tricky because they assured you, but if something happens tomorrow, how are you going to just handle this issue?
Who will take the accountability for that?
Who is going to take the accountability?
No, what happens tomorrow?
Because the rally is also going to take place against this only.
Which one?
There is going to be a public
rally is going to take place.
See, there are definitely public rallies, but we do, like I said, we do hope. The group has showed us the public rally. There are so many other public rallies which are going on every day in Nagaland. So this public rally is also there, definitely. But our endeavor is to resolve this issue amicably and see that the ceasefire ground rules are followed. We would not definitely tolerate violation of any of these ceasefire ground rules, and we will hold.
Are you planning to invite representatives of the Angami organization to sit across the table?
Oh, we have offered our good officers to them. It is up to them to take the offer to resolve this issue. If there is
invited them?
No, we will. I am no agency. I am the chairman of the ceasefire supervisory board and monitoring group. I am not here to resolve differences between two warring civil society organizations. It is up to them to resolve. My mandate is very specific, and in that mandate of violation of the ceasefire ground rules, if there is a need for our good offices to facilitate this resolution, which are misunderstanding or misperception which has come up, we will definitely facilitate and help them.
The provisions included in the ceasefire ground rules to protect civilians from harassment, illegal taxation and intimidation, like death threats and all.
No, I think you must understand, I do not protect anybody. I function as per these ceasefire ground rules, and these ceasefire ground rules do say that these groups will not undertake any of these activities which are there. The ceasefire mechanism consists of agencies like the government agencies, the Nagaland police, the Nagaland state government, the state security agencies, the Assam Rifle security agencies which are there. And if there are violations to these provisions of the ceasefire ground rules, I am sure these agencies definitely are taking action to resolve and see that violations of these ceasefire ground rules do not take place. And once it has been committed, or anybody commits any unlawful activity through any of these acts of violation, I am sure the law is there, and these agencies do take action towards that side.
This is almost going to be 30 years of ceasefire that has entered into with NSCN in 1997 and continues so far. So in this almost 30 years, how many ceasefire ground rules have been committed, and what are the actions, the major actions initiated? Do you have any reports of those things?
Yeah, we do have definitely all the records. Ceasefire mechanism which is there, of course, started in 1998. I am the 12th chairman of the ceasefire mechanism, with people from IAS, people from IPS, and even military officers tenanting this appointment which has been there. We have the ceasefire rules, or the ceasefire which is signed between the groups, is reviewed every year. There is a proper review which takes place in Delhi, because the ceasefire has been signed between the government of India and these groups. I am only a medium to see that this ceasefire is implemented in letter and spirit as per the ground rules which both sides are committed to. So there is a meeting or annual review which takes place on all the issues which are there in Delhi, and with representative of all the agencies which are there. And the ceasefire is a dynamic process, and every year a review is taken to see that how this mechanism can be made more effective, or if there are any corrections or any more provisions to be brought out. Definitely the various agencies which are there participating in that review mechanism do take those measures to see that we continue to have this efficient mechanism to see that peace prevails on ground in Nagaland. Thank you.
Emporium Nagaland is India's premier aviation, hospitality and cruise line training and international job placement consultancy. Trained and blessed over 20,000 youths from Nagaland in prestigious international brands. The only institute in Nagaland that hosts top airlines, cruise and 5-star hotel campus interviews. The first institute to conduct international cruise campus interview in Northeast. We are open to students of class 10 and above. Emporium provides 100% placement assistance, empowering educated unemployed youths with global opportunities.